one here, someplace.
We
need one of us.
Yeah.
Morning. I didn't see
Yeah, there
that.
should be
Oh,
a
great.
little SUV someplace.
See you, bro.
On the front.
See me that best.
What's that? What's that?
Carl.
Yeah.
How about, can they,
Okay.
so that, do I mute the Zoom
Yeah.
mic?
Yours, you should still be able to.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, so you need to mute yours for now. Turn off.
Can you hear me now?
Mute the mic.
Dakuwashite. Okay, council, thank you all for making roll call today. We kind of left off last night on the emergency management stuff. Had the meeting this morning, and I was trying to get the link out. That was my fault for not getting that out sooner. I forgot we let the employees out, so I was bugging the staff to, but they were probably not responding because they're not working today. So anyway, we'll have it again tomorrow at 9 a.m. and we'll get that on Zoom. I'll be at the chairman's office. If you want to come in person, you're welcome to. Otherwise, we'll continue on with our council meeting. We thank Mr. Brinksplanty for the prayer, and we'll go on down the list. I believe we have the budget and finance reports all completed, the ones that we were able to do. And then the claims, there's no claims. Economic development were completed. Education was completed. Enrollment, there was no enrollment report. Health minutes, we were all caught up on those. Human services, I believe we're all caught up. Land and natural resources, we're all caught up. Law and order, we're all caught up. Roads, I think we're all caught up. Tax committee. Bryce, do you have any tax minutes?
The veteran tax, then they can't find them. I don't know. I sent them to all three, and I don't know how they could disappear. But I'm hoping that Caden or one of them can. I'll resend all of that again. Kind of frustrating, but I had a comment on this. I was trying to get on when the AO and Dakota and all of them were talking, and JD, and I kept trying to get on and ask questions, but I couldn't get through.
Yeah, that's we're having council now. Let's we can discuss that. But let's do the council meeting now.
Okay, I'll resend all of that. Those minutes again. I've done it several times, Chairman. They're saying they can't find any of that veteran or Woolacoots. It's like, I don't know. I don't know how that could happen.
Okay, well.
I'll resend all that what I got, Chairman, and if you let me on the Zoom, I could put it up on the screen.
Yeah, we're on Zoom.
I'm on the phone right now, but I'm waiting for the Zoom link on the email.
I sent it to you.
Who's your IT guy?
I sent you that link.
I'm on the phone, but they sent it to me, but it's not letting me in. Besides that Zoom page, and I click on to launch meeting.
Try it again.
Okay, I'll try it again.
Okay, council, we'll go into the TETRA meeting. I think we're pretty much caught up. There was some actions left to do, but I don't know if we want to bring those up now or. Tribal projects, are we caught up on tribal projects, Mr. Keckler?
I believe we are. We didn't have a meeting last month.
Okay. Veteran Affairs, Bryce just briefed us on that. He's gonna resend all those minutes again. Wolacota, same thing. He's gonna resend all the minutes and once we get those, we can, he can present those minutes. And we'll go on to the,
One question this is, Chairman, is Mark wants to get a letter to you to send today is the deadline. And, I don't know, when are we gonna have that legal report?
probably after the treasurer's report or whenever Mark gets on. I sent him the link and I asked him to get on. He said in 10 minutes.
Okay, but he's working on a letter that, he get it out to Chris and George. That's the only person veterans issue right now. Salaam
Okay. Council, we go on to the treasurer's report. Mr. Keckler. No, I just making here, yeah, I think.
Okay.
Oh, these
Good
mics?
morning, council. We passed out Morning, council. We passed out the report 2 days ago. In addition to the bound copy, I gave you a copy of the ARPA funds. The ARPA funds, I'll do a quick summary of where we are with that. If you guys got the sheet in front of you, the first set of figures is the ARPA office itself. They've been allocated $764,000 to operate the office. They currently have a balance of $291,990. We have an unbudgeted balance of $13,739,851.53. In terms of the payments to the tribal members, the first one's titled Economic Recovery Assistance, Payment 1. We budgeted $46,788,000 for the membership. That window is since closed, and we spent a total of $38,148,000. So I have a balance of $8,640,000. Fraudulent checks, what this is when the checks were being mailed out, there was some scammers that were making photocopies of checks and cashing these checks. We were able to intercept all of them and get the charges reversed, with the exception of 59 cents. So we did pretty good at that. ARPA pandemic relief, this was payment 2. We budgeted $49,980,000. The window is closed. We spent a total of $37,740,000, got a balance of $12,240,000. Capital outlay, what that is, it's listed in districts 1 through 6. This is the housing resolution that was passed by district. The only funds used so far have been what's been used in District 5 for the 8 homes. 150,000 has been used out of the 4 million. That was the early payments to the, or not early payments, but part of the contract with that Lichty Homes was that so much paid up front. That's what that is. So everyone else has their original balance with the exception of District 5, and they have a balance of $3,849,960. Next set of figures, ARPA COVID-19 operations. This is the command center and all of the people that work during that. Right now, the salaries have been, they're in the red, about $30,442. I met with finance staff, and they're doing journal vouchers now to adjust them. So within the next week, them accounts will now be put back in the black. Basically, there was 2 within that budget, salaries and professional services. There's adjustments that can be made through the use of capital outlay. There's a balance of $302,000 in there. So what'll happen is there's going to be a journal voucher to take funds from that line item and move in to get them other ones in the black. Homeless shelter, same item, same issue. They've overran their salaries. They're in the red, $41,550, but they have funds within other line items, so there'll be a journal voucher done there to get that back in the black. In terms of the family shelters, if you guys, what we have is we have all the shelters are funded under ARPA. First one, the bottom of page 1, them are the family shelters, and they have a balance of $233,000. They were budgeted $374, so they're moving through. The ARPA New Hope Homeless Shelter, that one was budgeted $272,000. They have a balance of $151. The ARPA, the next set of figures is, these are basically equipment and computer purchases. $242,000 was budgeted through the use of software, hardware, maintenance agreements, purchasing of equipment, and they were budgeted $242,000. They have a balance of $190,000 in change. Airport construction, if you remember last summer, our tribal council went round and round with IHS. The airport is a combination of tribal members or programs and the city. And they had a resurfacing project that needed to happen on that runway. And the city come up with a certain amount of dollars, and then the tribe was responsible for the remainder. What we did was we approached IHS and asked them to pay for this service because most of the runway traffic is emergency transports from IHS. However, they were not able to do that, so these funds were taken out of ARPA, and the full balance is there. I don't think they were able to get the paving done this fall, so that'll happen next summer. ARPA trust fees, what these are is these are the fees that we pay for the investment account of the ARPA funds, and it amounts to about $2,000, give or take, a little over $2,000 a month. And I've got the accounting staff now doing a summary of what the interest that was earned off the ARPA funds. That'll come at a later date, but these are the fees that were used to administer the account so that we could collect interest off the funds. Next one was elderly ramps. Basically what was done there is they were budgeted $287,500 last summer, and they have a balance of $70,000. There was approximately 67 people on the list at that time, and there was elders as far back as early 20-teens. I don't have an update of where they are with that, but it looks like they've spent roughly about 3/4 of the funds. So we have about a balance of 70,000 and change. ARPA Credco, what has happened is council passed a resolution submitted by Credco last spring, and the resolution gave Credco 1.3 million and change. To this date, there's been no activity in the account, so I have a full balance. ARPA Healing to Wellness, this is the wellness court over in within our tribal court system, the wellness court. They were budgeted 106,949 and change. They have a balance of $14,000, so they've expended a large percentage of theirs, about 85% probably. ARPA insurance claims, if council remembers, we dealt with this last spring and summer due to COVID issues. Our tribal insurance pool is a partial self-funded, and as a result of costs, medical costs to deal with the insurance of the employees with COVID and such, we had a balance. We had to come up with $2,280,663 and change. So that has been given, and that is the money has went to the insurance company. So there's a balance of zero in that. Next item, the ARPA Secretary's Office. There was a recording equipment that was purchased through the funds. This was used probably some of the, I don't know if we've got it yet. Did we get that yet, Evan, that equipment? Not yet, but she's paid, part of it has been paid. 197 was allocated and change. We've spent about 92, so we have about 105,000 left of that. CRST Food Pantry, we set aside money for food to help the food pantry to assist them in getting food items for our membership. We set aside $60,000. They still have a balance of 60. ARPA Private Home Repairs, there was a balance of an award of 1.5 million. We talked about that yesterday, but and to date we've spent we have a balance of 1.331 million. We've spent about 168,000. Majority of the money spent so far is materials. They did a bulk purchase of materials and they have them stored here. We've since issued some contracts to contractors to perform the work, and they've been doing that, but none of that has been posted within the ARPA yet. The animal shelter, if you guys are aware of this, it's a continual issue of no funding for the animal shelter. So a while back, action was taken to fund the animal shelter in the amount of 65,000 and change. To date, they have 51,000 balance remaining. Same thing with planning and economic development. They've been having trouble with funding of salaries and such within that department. Used to be funded through EDA, I believe, and them funds are slowly drying up. So they were awarded 151,633, and to date they haven't spent any of that. CRST day labor, council awarded 1.5 million for day labor, and to date we have a balance of 1,414,514. What has happened there, I found out since I talked to council. What has happened is in late November, action was taken through the administration to move some of the a lot of the employees from the COVID-19 operation salaries, and they moved them into that day labor. I don't know if that was the intent of day labor, but administration will probably be able to work that out. But I do have a memo on what was done, so that is, that's where that is. In terms of tribal health reimbursement, them funds were spent. If you remember, the pre-COVID dollars where the council or the tribe went over on the CARES Act dollars, we had a negative balance. So what happened was with the ARPA dollars, that money was issued so that we could get the CARES Act back to a zero balance. So that's what that is. ARPA COVID LTM building, what this was $4 million was set aside for the new LTM. Them funds are setting an account, none was used. And that's a summary of ARPA. If anybody has questions, I'll do my best. If I can't answer the questions, I'll get the answers for you. Now, you want me to continue, Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir, please.
Okay, thank you. Nope. Joe. Oh, I've never explained that. What that is in the final rule that I passed out to you guys yesterday, the blue folder, what it is within this law, they allow within the funds that we receive, they allow you to use what is called lost revenue account, and what that is 10 million of these dollars can be used as at the tribe's discretion, and it don't have to fall within the 4 major categories. So what has been done there is this: we start out with a $10 million lost revenue balance, and these projects didn't fit into any of the categories, so we lumped them in as the budget committee and council approved them under the lost revenue account. So of the 10 million, the airport project was booked under lost revenue, the elderly ramps, the healing to wellness court, the health insurance, the secretary's equipment, Credco allocation, and then the tribal health reimbursement of the CARES Act. So as of today, we have a balance of, we're allowed to use 10 million of these dollars in this category, and we have a balance of 3.7 million if we choose to take that route on any future use of the funds. That's what that is. So.
Thank you.
Yep. Continue.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you. In addition to the document that I just went over, how it was done before with the previous treasurer, she gives a monthly report to you guys. So this one's dated December of 2022. The CARES Act dollars were the first one, but I've already presented that. This was a printout through in November, so you guys are current as of December 15th on the ARPA dollars. Next items: general fund, revenue and expense. First item, our budget for this fiscal year we're currently in under a general fund was $20,364,000, and as of November 30th, we've collected revenue in the amount of 4.7 million. So we're at about 24% received, which is a little above where we should be. So we still have to collect $15,572,000 of our funds, and them come in at various times. Most of the sales taxes, them are either paid monthly or quarterly. Like we just got sales tax in yesterday. For a month, it was $266,000. So them will come in. Excise tax, fuel tax, tourism tax, them all come throughout the year. And most of them, the numbers that we have budgeted are based on historical, so them are pretty safe numbers. Land leases, grazing, leases were all billed out, and they were due on the 1st of December. And for the range units, budget was $3.653 million. That's based on whatever our rates are. We've collected $3,605,000 as of the last time I looked. There's 5 leases that weren't paid. Not sure the names. I know one was a death of a recent tribal member, so they were working through their estate, and then there was 2 or 3 other ones. And if they don't pay on time, then basically they're given they have to pay a late fee, which is equal to a 1.5%, I believe, a month. And so we're pretty much caught up with the exception of 5. And the land committee, you can probably get an update with Carly when you meet. Or if you want, I can get an update and forward it to everybody. Leases, proceeds of labor. What this is the undivided interest that the tribe owns within the reservation and a little bit off of the reservation. But what this is when you have tribal land, and then you have the allotted lands. This is what the tribe collects off the allotted lands that they own, 912,000. What normally happens there is them funds are collected and they set in the OST, and for cash flow purposes throughout the years, the former treasurer left those funds at OST, and then we drew them down in September when we're nearing the end of the fiscal year, so that we always have cash flow. So that'll probably continue. Pasturing authorizations and other, what this is the pasture authorizations for non-member, non-Indian cattle that go on range units. Budget's $200,000. You normally don't collect much in the winter because these PAs are summertime activities. So to date, we've collected 2,362, so there must be a winter PA someplace. Business licenses, them are those that do business here, both on and off, 150,000 budgeted. And what happens is the business licenses are not collected at the beginning of the fiscal year. They're on a cycle where if a business starts in July, they pay every July. So throughout the 12 months, that number will go up. It's just based on when the business license is due. So liquor licenses, them are at the beginning of the year. To date, we've received 12. We haven't received any yet. They might be due. Oh, them are due on the 1st. So on January 1st, all that money will come in. Attorney fees, them are for people that practice in our court. They pay a fee. Federal indirect costs, these are the indirect costs that all of our federal contracts that we collect. And them are normally done on a monthly or a lot on a quarterly basis, and they haven't been none billed. So I'm guessing after the 31st, there'll be a bill that'll be, so that number will change beginning in January. ARPA indirect, same type of thing. Haven't billed for it yet, but that's available there. And TECHA indirect, same thing. Fund balance reserve, what this is the amount that was carried forward from last year. from our general fund, 2,414,000 was carried forward. Burial assistance, these are the funds that we get from the federal government. There's a program where, depending on eligibility, when a tribal member is deceased, we receive some funds for that, and then we supplement with our dollars. In terms of livestock, these is the tribal beef herd. There's a combination of tribal beef owned by the tribe itself and OEO livestock, which is for the elderly account. Normally that number runs about 50% tribal beef, 50% OEO. Coal cows, this was a number Mr. Murray gave, selling the dries this past year. That's what that is. Livestock yearling heifers. A couple of years ago, the tribe took the position, sold just the steers, and kept the heifers to replenish the herd, part of them, and then the other half they fattened and sold to Westside Meats so that they can, and then they'll provide a higher dollar figure for them heifers. And right now, working with Mr. Murray to get a check from Westside for them heifers. I think there was 49 that was sold through Westside, so that'll happen this coming month. So that number will change. Sales of maps and publications, this is coordinated through the Secretary's office. I think it's maps, flags, stuff like that. Non-refundable application fees, these are dealt with range units. Whenever you have an allocation period, they put in an application fee, and that's what this is, but there's no, unless there's some individual allocations of units, this number will stay at 0. If there's some that are advertised for non-payment or whatever reason, then this number will go up. Client fees, protective payee, the finance department has a set of tribal member clients that are on protective payee status, and this is the fees that are used to administer that program. Payroll processing fees, same thing. This is the seller deductions, stuff like that. Trust fund interest, same thing. There's a few accounts that have we collect interest off of, ones that we have the ability, and that'll happen over the year. Commercial business cost space, this is for the like LTM and the mall, the commercial buildings that we collect a lease. Dividends, user fees, these are our tribal businesses and such that pay a fee for their business, LTM, the telephone authority, housing authority, so there's a few of them that's what that is. Miscellaneous income, odds and ends stuff. Billings to programs. What happens is general fund pays some of the billings up front, could be postage, other items to a grant or contract, and then they and then once we invoice them, then they pay the tribe back for that. Settlement proceeds, them could be over the years, if you guys remember, we had contract support costs. The federal government owed us for contract support costs, so that we have a line item if that happens. I think we have some that may come in this year, if I remember. I'm not sure of the fiscal year, but miscellaneous revenue is odds and ends and tribal license fees. Them are probably the, not sure what that is, but I could find out. So that's a summary of the revenue that the general fund receives. Any questions, anybody? Not, I'll move to the expense. Next page, these are the programs that are funded through the general fund. Basically, that's the budget that you guys have received. when we begin the fiscal year. These are all the programs that are within that. You have tribal council, district officers, them are districts 1 through 6, the funds for them. On-staff attorney, that's the legal department. Pretty self-explanatory all the way down. So you'll see we have a budget of $20,364,000, and to date we've spent 10% of our budget, so we're about 6% under where we could be through the 2 months. Nothing to be alarmed of. I won't go through all these, but you guys can see what's budgeted, what's expended. Outstanding POs, them are items where the checks haven't been cut, but the obligation to spend money has been issued. So, and then contractual agreements on the bottom. We have a series of programs that we fund. Community activities. What these are is funds for each community, $3,000 for they can do whatever they want with it. Powwows, Christmas parties, whatever they choose. Airport, we give a little bit to the airport. Victory Day, there's money set aside for that. National organizations, what this is if we're members of the National Indian Gaming or different things, there's a place for fees for that. Other in-kind, what this is it's a variety of programs that we help throughout the year. It could be the nutrition center, things like that. They come out of that. Miscellaneous donations. This is used for entities that come to the tribe and request assistance. Could be a tribal organization that needs a little bit of help, so they come and there's funds set aside for that. Meat donations. What this is used is for funerals, mainly. When a member passes, $500 worth of meat is given to the family to help for the feeds and things like that. Pipekeeper Arvo Looking Horse has a budget for however he chooses to use it to help him in his whatever he's doing. It's up to him. Foot Patrol, money's budgeted for Foot Patrol. A lot of this is used in the summer months when there's more outside activity, but that's there and it's designated by community. Inspector, there's a tribal inspector, and this person, they've kind of been standalone, but the money's setting there to allow. We've had issues with projects being half done or 95% done and not complete. This person is supposed to help with that. Road maintenance, the general fund gives road maintenance to our tribal transportation. A lot of this is used for elderly roads, build roads, clean snow, things like that. Cultural center, same thing, have a budget. Loan office, same thing. Tribal census project, that's kind of wrapping up, I think. Madam Secretary is in charge of that. Marijuana control, with the passing of the 2 votes for medical and recreational marijuana, there's money set aside there now to be used as we move forward. Beef herd, that was the revenue from the sales of the beef. Veteran Service Office, what that is we have funds set aside for the veterans groups and the VSO, and then debt service is what the tribe owes to like banks, like the elderly village. We have a note with USDA that we have to pay over 20 years, and so them are some of the debt service. Some of the recent land purchases, the Wounded Knee, they purchased some land out by the little, the battlefield out there. There's some of that, but that'll, if you get into your budget, it'll tell you exactly what the amounts are, so you'll be able to see where the debt service is. But that's the general fund. That'd probably help people, I think, to figure out what's owed there. Next one is the, these are some odds and ends programs. General fund, we have like some disaster reimbursements. There's probably what you guys can see there, what we received, receipts, expenses on them. Insurance proceeds, RAMA, we have a balance in the RAMA. That was from years ago. But that'll give you an idea, about 4 or 5 pages back, Salazar, if you remember years ago, the tribe got $30 million for Salazar, paid out a distribution to the members, and we have a balance in that account today. It just sits there, and every now and then we'll have some members that'll come in and get their distribution, but it's just an account that sits there at this time. I suppose if council wanted to take action, they could figure out what to do with it. They could give a notice that there's 6 months for anybody that wants to make a claim and get their checks, and then at the end of that, you could probably reappropriate it or do what you want with it. But that just sits there, and we issue checks every now and then, so. That's where that is. Tetra revenue and expense. Chris Miner handles this. What these are is these are done by staff in the office. So if you have a question on a certain section, you can go to that person and they can help you. So, Mr. Chairman.
Just briefly, would you like to take that motion or take that action?
I think we could talk about it in the next budget meeting, maybe. So.
We were supposed to have that at 1 o'clock today, so.
It got moved to next Wednesday. Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. In terms of Tetra, these are all the programs that were funded, budgeted, what they expend. This was a monthly report for November. You guys can see what all of the grants that were awarded, where they are to date, if they have a balance. There's some that are in the red, working on trying to figure out how to remedy that. In terms of, you'll go back and you'll see the revenue and the expense on that. And they got it. The Tetra's broken down by fiscal year too, so you'll be able to go back and look and see what was funded at certain times.
Mr. Treasurer?
Yeah.
So, one of these in here is in the red, and it's the K-9 grant with law enforcement. But
Yeah.
there's some expenditures, there's like $700 that was taken out a couple of times
Okay.
from your staff over here.
Okay.
And they were supposed to put that back into it and then give
Get
us
it
a
back.
correct amount for the
Okay.
K-9. So, just
I think-
FYI, if you could make note of that.
Okay, I think they've been working with all them programs that had them.
Uh-huh.
And there was, what happens sometimes is a wrong account goes on a voucher or something.
Yeah.
So when that happens, then when it should have went in to billed to a Tetra, it maybe got billed to something else. And some of them things do happen, but I know over the summer, they did a very good job of bringing that number down. But at some point, the number's gonna be what it is, and we're gonna have to figure out how to address it to get the expended ones, figure out a method to get them all to zero, so. But we'll work on that. And I know they were working with just a lot of the programs this summer to get them numbers down, so. If you go to the back there, there's a Tetra over-expended account. You guys will be able to see what was over-expended and where we're at right now with the balances. And we'll have to, at some point, get these to zero, as painful as it is, or figure out a method to come to an agreement on how to get these to where they need to be. There's a section on Tetra inactive accounts. If you guys go back and look, there's a lot of these accounts that are fairly old, dating but far back as 2012 when the first year Tetra was allowed. And you'll see some balances, positive balances in them. in the amount of 2.8 million bucks. So that's that with the TETRA. Next item is Kelly LeBeau. She runs the, like the master 638 contract. She's responsible for a lot of them programs. So you guys will see Indian Highway Safety, Patrol, Detention, Detox. Also does the infant toddler. She does a lot of the 638. So you'll be able to go through that and look where we are in terms of for any of our programs. If you guys have questions with that later, you can bring them to me, and if I can't answer them, I can point you in the right direction to get your answers. I'll move to the next one. One thing with social detox that I want to point out, and we need to work to try to get this collected, is back when the Walter Minor facility was built, 91 maybe, there was a agreement made between IHS and the tribe that they would provide us with $150,000 every year so that we could provide medical services, detox services within the facility to help our membership, the social detox portion of it. And we haven't received these funds for the last 3 years. So what that does is the people still work, but it puts a burden on our other programs because we have to offset that. So I would hope with Chairman LeBeau and myself, we could make some extra effort to try to figure out how to get that collected so that it would help the detox. But that's an issue with that. Beverly Clown, she's in charge of the, she does a lot of the enterprise accounts, Taro, bat fee, third party, she does a lot of them. In addition to the ARPA, she does the ARPA also. But you guys will see that we have Game Fish and Parks, third party, Title VI, which is between cultural preservation, Game Fish and Parks, the animal shelters, she does a lot of them programs. Youth horsemanship, beautification, red scaffold, that was, I think that was an artesian project, water, but she's responsible for most of them. You guys can review them at your own pace. Wanda Lynn, a lot of Wanda's function is she does all the cash drawdowns on our accounts. So when we have money that programs need, any of the programs, it's her responsibility to complete the drawdowns. In addition to that, she does the Wisdom Keepers, Voc Rehab, Historic Preservation, Title VI, some of that, Cultural Resource, Bingo, when we had Bingo. Them are her programs. Dixie LeCompte, she does a lot of the, some of the 638 also, things like swimming pool, violence. I think she does the transportation, food distribution, employment assistance, tribal credit, game fish, prosecutor, domestic violence, dialysis, black-footed ferret, does a lot of work with tribal projects. Them are her functions. You guys can go through that. Faye Hyalk, she does our IHS, our master contract. And she's responsible for hospitals and clinics, health ed, CHRs, dental, environmental health, CHRs, 4-bands, counseling, diabetes, third-party dental, third-party non-dental, other programs. You'll be able to go through and see where we are from in terms of the tribal health. These funds for tribal health, they come in all at once at the beginning of the year, whereas a lot of the other funds we draw down as we need, like our master contract. So there's a little bit of difference on how the funds are received and how we get them. I'll leave that at that. See left here. We have a contract specialist, we have a vacancy on that, working to fill them. Bernice Condon, she does some of the projects, she's also a contract specialist, she does some of the women's violence, cultural center, arts and crafts, LEAP, them are her programs. 911 Corporation, she's responsible for that. Then another contract officer, Lee Hyalk. Lee does Child Family Services, LEAP, Brownsfield, Water Quality, Department of Transportation, Tribal Court Supplies, Elderly Roads. She's responsible for a few of them programs. Perry Gray does Title I. Title I's a little different. Title I has assumed their own contracting purposes. They have their own contract person in their office, so this office doesn't do that. But the Title I funds come into that office, and Perry Gray's their contract officer. That's pretty much a summary of what's going on. Next month, I'll have a little more info for you guys on it. We may change the format a little bit, maybe not, but that's it for the treasurer's report, Mr. Chairman, if there's any questions. Thank you. Yeah. Mr. Chairman, one thing we're going to do, it's probably going to be in January now, but we're going to do a orientation for the new council. They'll have each one of them contract specialists to come in and they'll go over their stuff with you guys. And then if you have questions, you can directly ask them. We'll probably schedule that the week after council in January. Could probably do it next week, but looks like all these committees are all backed up and there ain't going to be time, so we'll have that for you guys in January. If there's any of the council that was currently seated and they want to refresher or hear from the contract specialist, you're welcome to come too. And they'll be there to answer all your questions and go over your accounts for you guys. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Mr. Russo?
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, Treasurer.
You bet.
So the, one question I have, and I'm glad we're talking about this, I just came from Eagle Stop, and there was one of our members getting a voucher for a full tank of gas. And I didn't know that they did vouchers for full tanks of gas. I know they do vouchers. I know there was a break in vouchers too, but it's good to know that they're doing vouchers again. But one thing that I'm struggling with as a council rep is what is available for our members. Yeah, I'm learning from other council reps as I go, but I'd like to see a detailed list of what kind of assistance do we have, because even now, I'm in year 2, and I still finding stuff out, and I shouldn't be. We should have each district should have a resource list that says, hey, if one of your constituents needs diapers, this is where they have diapers, or if they need gas vouchers, this is the 3 ways to get gas vouchers, not just call the treasurer and they get denied by that. So if we can get a detailed roster, what kind of resources are available to our members, that would be very helpful, and then kick it up to districts.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, if I may.
Yes, sir.
I spoke to Mark when he first got in, and he's working on a resource manual for you guys. And what that'll do is it'll give you an idea of everything that's out there, and we'll all chip in on it. There'll be a section on support services, what we provide, and that way you guys can, if you have an issue, you can go into that manual and you'll know who to call. I mean, there's 4 or 5 different programs that provide heating assistance depending on the situation you're in. So he's working on that right now to get that out to you guys. But in terms of the fuel assistance, we do have that there, and we started using it. normal, if a person comes in and maybe they had to come in and get something in town and go back, right now they get $30. I'm gonna examine that and see if it's enough. But we did have a couple things this morning where people were, they have to go down and get a person in Sioux Falls or Rosebud, or I think one's going to Rosebud this morning. So we had to we gave them a full tank of gas so they have enough to go down there and come back. But most of the time it's a dollar amount and not a full tank. But if they happen to have to leave here and go a longer distance, we'll do what we can to help them, so. And my goal is to, it'll probably happen in January, is to do the same thing we do here at our store in Taquini and in La Plante, so that a person can stop there and get fuel before they get here, because a lot of times they don't have enough to get here, or they're running on fumes. So we give them some before they start, so that'll get done in January or maybe even next week, so. Thank you.
Okay, any other questions for Mr. Treasurer, Madam Secretary?
Yes, thank you.
Madam Secretary, and then Mr. Underwoods.
Thank you. Council and the new ones, and I don't know, did the LTM workers ever get fully paid from working during the COVID? Because some of them only got paid half. They were told they were gonna get the full pay, and then when council passed that resolution, they only got paid half. And then some of them, I guess, brought it to the attention, and then because of speaking out, they were let go, because they have that at-will policy. And I just wanted to know if they got fully paid, because that's what they were told, because they worked during the COVID.
What?
I guess I don't know that. I know council acted on the resolution that Credco provided to us, and I don't know if that stated whole or half, but the action, tribal council did what Credco wanted when they passed that resolution, 1.382 million or whatever. And I don't recall what was in that, if it was for only half or if it was for full. But that'd probably be an issue between the administration. Chairman could find out with Mr. Williams. But whatever they requested, we gave them in that resolution. So I guess that's all I know. So thank you.
That's all I got.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. Mr. Underwoods?
they were getting nothing from the community, nothing out to the community. This is years, the people are landlords. So there's land reform that we need. I think there was 55 non-industry PE that were leasing, subleasing to the PE. We need to look at that and do a assessment on that too. Because we need to utilize our land now to benefit our communities and our families. And it's not happening. And then there's a great conflict of interest there, but I won't bring it up. But I think we need to get that going as soon as possible, establishing these tribal farms, and establishing these district weavers, and reintroducing the buffalo to those communities that could create that economy there. And those district weavers, hopefully we can provide that so that those communities, like now, in the time of hardship, that proves there's some jobs and equipment there that they can be mobile and they can dig themselves out and help each other out. It's not happening. I heard Dakota and talking to them and Mark and them, and I couldn't make comments, but we're hearing that same thing. We can't hook up a road painting, but there's something called training to do that. I use that word, I don't know nothing, but we're supposed to be having written reports every time of emergency, there's supposed to be a log. And it kind of been like that comment, those individuals will need help, will need 100 pounds of propane, that's just a fact, So if you can't do this stuff, we gotta make it, you can't do it. And if one person can't do it, then we need somebody else that can do it. Because that word can't shouldn't be in our vocabulary. And the other one is
On top.
are we gonna get a report on that, Mr. Treasurer? That's it up to the former chairman. She said it that meeting, but Kate Bishop Park and the CPO on those percentages. Because the part, the old CPO, 1.5 billion. And these vehicles that CPO puts out there, they've been abused and a lot of miles on them. So these vehicles, do we have, Mr. Treasurer, I know we established now about trying to work on your property. But can we get that inventory, because those are liabilities with insurance and everything. Would that be your report or would that be the chairman's report? I think it'll be, Mr. Treasurer report because of insurance and liability.
What's he
But
asking?
can we get that established, the water pools and that inventory? I don't get vehicles, but I don't know equipment. They get equipment, get that to council. And I can grab, I need that information there. Kevin, executive, you guys probably can pull that together. And there's that inventory there. Before I could. Would that be a part of that report? I don't know what department that would be under. Property, but that,
You chair?
the executives, to get that report to us. Because that whole equipment is so critical. We've got a bunch of broke down equipment that we need to get, some mechanics to get it to work so that we can fix equipment that's broken. Or, replace it. And that's what we do. A lot of vehicles that are pretty much damaged and stuff. We have that
Okay, this is the treasurer's report.
I can provide an inventory if he wants it.
He said he'll provide some inventory. He said he'll do the inventory and, report that. Okay. Any other comments or questions on the treasurer's report? Mr. Bartlett, go ahead. Mr. Bartlett? Yes, ma'am, go ahead.
For the new council representatives, that packet that you got from the treasurer, that's what the people want to see. And that's what I mentioned at orientation, that you guys get these reports every month. Make copies and give it to your people. That way they can see all the funding that's coming into the tribe. And also, you get that Tetra report. You get that in your mailbox. So that's what the people want to see also, to see where the Tetra funds are going and what the balance is and all that. So that's why I mentioned, make copies of those too, and give it to your people so they know the budgets of the tribe. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. And next I have Ms. Lee.
Thank you, Chairman Gold. Good morning, Council. I was just going to state that Mr. Williams was emailing the critical board minutes to me. Are just the staff, are they just working from home or just not working today?
There's no work for out-of-town employees.
Okay, so they will probably be available to email anything? That was my question. Anyway, the critical board hasn't met this month, but
She's in.
we usually meet on Zoom once a month, but we will
She's up
have
there.
a meeting. I'm not sure if anyone's available yet. It's been so busy, so one is late and everything. But I'm, Ms. White, got a concern about LTM workers, if they got paid the amount they were supposed to. And we were waiting on Mr. Williams to give us an updated report on all the businesses and the amounts of who was, not the names so much as the amount who was paid and from what period, and to make sure that everyone was paid what they were supposed to be. So we're waiting on that report as well. Just wanted to bring that up for the record. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Lee. Council, any other questions for Mr. Treasurer?
Chairman,
Yes, sir.
yeah, I was, pretty sure I said acre.
Yeah,
I think I might have said that start. I meant acre.
yeah, we knew what you meant. I mean, yeah. Yeah. Okay, well, we'll continue on with the agenda. Appreciate the treasurer for giving everyone that report. We'll try to do that every month. And I know it gets hard sometimes, but we got this far and we're caught up. So in the minutes, we go on. And next, as reports of special committees, ABC Commission. And I just got it. I asked Lynette for the minutes, and she sent the December. I think it was November. See if I can screen share and put that up on the screen. I sent the copy to Madam Secretary and try to get this on the screen. Yeah, well, we can email that. Oh. Yeah, so it's just the last meeting that we had on like October 7th. Maybe that's a typo, but we did the Black Hills Wachipi, the hand games, the Culture Center Masquerade, Youth Affairs, Pumpkin Patch, community Halloween activities, mainly for our youth. A lot of requests come in. So we'll submit these for the record. October 7, 2022 minutes for ABC. Any other comments for ABC Commission? Yes, sir, go ahead. Mr. Bartlett?
Chairman, did you select the UBC commission?
Yeah, we was looking at this morning, and our memos didn't make it to the list, so we're gonna get that updated.
You could get pick 4 or 5 councilors to sit on that list.
Yeah. Yep. Anything else on ABC Commission? Go to the Buffalo Board. Anyone here on the Buffalo Board? Just Ron? Ron, you want to say anything on behalf of the board? I text Jamie about the report, and he said he was going to send it to us. He didn't know if it'd be today or whenever, but he just mentioned the GTC deal. If you want to touch on that, that's kind of a big news piece, I thought.
Yeah, I don't have anything official, but we did, besides the PTC transaction, I don't have an update on it. Back in October and November, we met with Kurt Newmiller and started the contract to purchase the GTC building. And I know, I'm not sure what the plan was to close by the end of the year. We were supposed to have a meeting last week, but we were supposed to not. And I know that this meeting will be establishing our new board, and look forward to any new reps getting on there. It's a pretty proactive board, one of the most active boards that, from my experience being on the council. They're doing a lot of stuff, and I'm hoping that we continue to grow and do good things. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Russo. Council, any comments or questions for Buffalo Board?
Question, Chairman.
Go ahead, Mr. Underwoods.
About 6 years ago, there was a motion, action to dissolve this Buffalo Board of Council reps. And at the time, I think that attorney was Margaret Badware. But when I got in council, the dissolution of the board, now I think we need to dissolve the board of council reps and return the Chaka back to the districts where it was at. It's Dave Baldy, Go Rocky, Afraid Hawk, and council kind of usurped that and took it under their wing, and they had a little slush fund there, and there was some controversy there and all this and that, and I know the new council reps didn't hear that discussion, but it's on the record. There was even on the record by a council rep saying illegal activity type of stuff right there in council. I think we haven't heard a report, and the only financial one was from last year. We should be getting monthly financial reports since that purchase of that Western meat plant down in Mobridge. But we haven't had any financial reports or any reports from the Buffalo Board. So I think that dissolution needs to happen, and I think action needs to return it back to the district. That way, it will follow through with the community and the district's reintroduction of the Buffalo, which was really needed bad, because if you have 6 districts and community go in Buffalo, then they'll need to be cold out, just like the livestock, so we'd have either for ceremony or for food or for whatever that they decide, those communities and districts. And that's not being afforded to our community and district because council reps are sitting on there, and some are leasing tribal land, range units and farm pasture. So it's a big conflict there because that's what's holding up progress for the Lakotas, is these council representatives and conflicts. And that has to be dealt with. And I'm not trying to offend anybody, but I've witnessed a lot of negativity and a lot of these things that I just mentioned as elected official, since 2000. It's getting better now. The council got some young council reps, but some of them have some concerns for their people and their communities. That's our priority, our people and our communities, because that's who put us in here. And sometimes councilors forget that. And all they do is sit there and make land deals, And that's got to end. That's what's keeping us in poverty, hungry. And it's got to end. We need our communities to be empowered. So I think Ron, and I think that there's nobody on the Buffalo Board from District 1. but it's made up of the council reps. So I'm gonna make that motion 2023 to dissolve the board and return it back to the districts. If I make that motion now, you know, I'm just putting it out there now. You can do your own fact checks because we should be getting a financial report monthly. And those comments made that I mentioned, those are concerning. So we need to stop this and get it back to our districts and empower our elected officials there, our president, secretary, treasurer. And that treasurer could open up an account for those districts. Each district has a treasurer in the bylaws, and they should have a banking account, money in the account. Let's do that, you guys. The elected officials, our people are trusting us to do what's right for them. This is just right. We got to quit this dominance, oppression from council reps sitting on these boards and stuff, you know. Take it away from when it was the Chaka. Put a big stain on it, the buffalo. And if you look at the history, you got some of these elders that were trying to intervene on what was happening. So it's not a good thing to do that to a relative that, if you know our stories, and that relative is going to help us again. So if you know the prophecy of the buffalo in the last leg and that last hair falls off, that's where we're at now. We got to be respectful now. So, Chairman, I hope the council will look at that and then start talking to the district that we want the buffalo board returned to the district where it was at. Just like the Techa Oyate committee, that belongs to the community. But again, council is dominating and keeping our people poor. It's called oppression. That's just a fact. So,
Okay. Okay, Bryce.
Ron, I hope you support that. Pilamalo.
Okay. Council, we're gonna present these resolutions that are on our table. We passed them out previously, just not in any order. And first one here is this one's on the strategic planning that we want to provide for our people, get their input on what kind of tribe they want to see in our future. And I'll start with the third whereas. It is the objective of the Cheyenne River Sioux Tribe to invest in the lives of a tribal membership through carefully planned strategic tribal decision-making and tribal development. And whereas the tribe will utilize a sound strategic plan method to allow for deliberate and sustainable growth and development for our tribal resources in a culturally appropriate and tribally specific manner. And it is the intent of the tribe to seek funding from the federal partners, private entities, and all other available funding sources. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Cheyenne River Sioux Tribe Council does hereby approve the identifying and pursuit of all available funding types for the use of strategic planning for the Cheyenne River Sioux Tribe. Be it finally resolved. The disclaimer. Council, any action? Motion approved. Motion approved by Mr. Rousseau. Second by Ms. Haskell. Discussion. Madam Secretary?
Greg Sindowitz,
Uh-huh.
Bennett Jr., absent John Kessler. Absent Henry Peters.
I'm here.
I don't know who that is.
Mr. Dupree said that he was here, but I don't know if there was a vote.
Kendrick, we're voting on this resolution for strategic planning.
Yeah, I voted for it.
Okay.
Sharon Lee,
Yes.
Kelsey Haskell, Yes. Pat Rose.
Yes.
James Bartlett.
Yes.
Bill Richmond.
Out.
Bob Walters.
Out.
Ron Russo.
Yes.
Randy Johnson.
Yes.
Ten yes, 0 no, 0 abstain, 2 absent, motion carries. Council, I also have here is a packet from the attorney, Mark Van Norman. He included his contract for services in the packet, but there was no resolution attached. And it is, and I think it is from December 12th, 2022, February 12th, 2023. So just a few months. And it's,
Chairman, motion to approve pending resolution.
okay, motion approved pending resolution by Mr. Underwoods. Is there a second? We're on,
Second.
second by,
Second.
second by Sharon Lee. And this is the, contract for, Mr. Van Norman. And this was for the, I think it's just for the health department. I'll pull it up here. Okay, special counsel that says, engagement, special counsel contract and attorney, term is, I'm sorry, the term is December 1st, 2022 to December 1st, 2024. So that needs to be corrected to reflect the fiscal year. Mr. Underwood, do you want to make that amendment?
Oh, huh.
Okay, motion's been amended. Sharon, do you still second that?
Yes.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second to approve Attorney Van Norman's contract for $250 and per hour, not to exceed 118,000 without council approval. And the motion's been amended to reflect the fiscal year. So his contract will start this month and it'll run through September 2023. Mr. Russo?
Thanks, Chairman. I've been asking this on a lot of these attorney contracts, these professional contracts. I just want to make sure that we're advertising this, because I don't think this has been advertised. And, yeah, whether or not the attorney is good or bad, we need to make sure we're advertising these contracts. We've got a procurement policy that says we're supposed to be advertising. And I like Mr. Van Norman, but this is a year contract, and, we need to just set this whole motion. I'd like to see us advertise today, but 6 months ago, we weren't, so I wouldn't be opposed to that. But I can't support this motion, resolution, because it most likely hasn't been, advertised. Thank you, Chairman.
Any other comments, council? Madam Secretary?
Bryce Underwood.
Oh, huh.
Kenneth Junior. Absent John Kessler.
Yes. Yes.
Sharon Lee,
Yes.
Kelsey Haskell. Yes. Zach Rose. Yes. Derek Bartlett.
Yes.
Joe Brinkman.
I'm gonna support it, but the thing is that, again, like with, Mr. Gunn's, contract, we just wanna make sure that these individuals are, you know, representing us. If it comes down to, a couple of different parties, then we should take precedence in it. I mean, if not, then, we need to get somebody else. Yes?
Bob Walters.
No.
Ronald Russo.
No.
Kathy Thompson.
Mr. Thompson is no longer on residency here.
Okay, I got 9 yes, 1 no, 0 abstain, 2 absent, motion carries. Council, this next resolution was also distributed, and I put it on the screen here. It's regarding wellness recreation centers for our reservation. Mr. Van Norman typed it up. I'll start with the third whereas. The mission of the Indian Health Service is to raise the physical, mental, social, and spiritual health of American Indians and Alaskan Natives to the highest level. To help realize this mission, improving the quality of care is an IHS priority. Whereas the Cheyenne River Sioux Tribe has a treaty right to competent physician-led health care, whereas American Indians suffer the lowest life expectancy in the nation with an average of 65 years, and among the Sioux Nation, we suffer the lowest life expectancy in Indian country with 45 years of Sioux Nation tribal members. Whereas the CDC has found that preventative medicine and physical activity are essential to do preventative health. CDC has identified mental health as a correlated condition with diabetes, heart disease, and hypertension, which are COVID-19 underlying conditions that put persons at greater risk from COVID-19, and just last month, CDC added mental health conditions is an independent underlying condition of COVID-19. Alcohol and substance disorders are often co-occurring with mental and behavioral health disorders, and national COVID-19 public health emergency is ongoing. Whereas the CDC reports national experts agree on a range of recommended clinical preventative health services for adults of various ages. We have effective vaccinations to protect against diseases such as influenza, pneumonia, and screening tools to identify risk factors for cancer, heart disease, or stroke, or diagnose these conditions in early stages when treatment can be more successful. Sadly, however, the percent of adults up to date with these clinical preventative services remains alarmingly low, particularly among adults aged 50 to 64. To close this gap, the Centers for Disease Control and Preventative, CDC, AARP, and the American Medical Association have joined together to highlight key issues, strategies, and resources for promoting broader use of preventive service among this age group. There is growing recognition that we cannot rely solely on an already thinly stretched healthcare system, but must reinforce and bolster this system with strong linkages to community providers, public policies, and supportive environments. This report, promoting preventive services for adults 50 to 64, community and clinical partnerships, brings together valuable data and examples of successful strategies for promoting clinical preventative services in community-based settings where people live and congregate. It embodies the strategic thinking of multiple organizations and experts committed to ensuring adults are provided the full benefits of scientific advantages to preserve and protect their health. It is time to focus on what many consider to be the low-hanging fruit offered through prevention by combining the forces of healthcare system and communities to prevent disease and improve the nation's health. CDC, AARP, and AMA urge you to join us in this effort, whereas the CDC has issued a call to action, increased understanding about social determinants of health by expanding the collection of information on social context of health in states and communities, engage providers, physical activity professionals, and community members to become more physical active and support environment and policy change, promote physical activity, expand tobacco cessation programs and policies such as smoke-free laws and policies in public places, increase exercise taxes on products, mass media campaigns that motivate users to quit, provide remain systems that prompt counseling for tobacco use and health insurance coverage for effective cessation treatments, promote effective policy and environmental strategies for binge drinking prevention and to include increasing alcohol excise tax, limiting alcohol outlet density, restricting delays for sale, and insurance coverage for screening and counseling for alcohol misuse. Develop and promote policy recommendations for enhancing clinical preventative services delivery and community public health strategies in the next 2 to 3 years among adults 50 to 64. Increase understanding about the social detriments of health by expanding the collection of information on social contexts of health in states and communities, whereas the community wellness and fitness centers may be the best preventative medicine to improve life expectancy and quality of life on Cheyenne River Sioux Tribe. Now therefore be resolved that the Cheyenne River Sioux Tribe calls upon the Indian Health Service to allocate 25 million third-party carryover funds from the Cheyenne River Service Unit for a community wellness center in Eagle Butte, South Dakota, to include a physical fitness center with an indoor track, pool, gym with cardio machines and weightlifting equipment, handball, racquetball courts, counseling center for mental, behavior, and wellness, family wellness counseling and nutrition counseling, community education on the dangers of smoking, the dangers of alcohol and substance abuse, the need physical activity, and the need for sound nutrition strategies, wellness day clinic for flu, pneumonia, shingles, and other vaccinations, diabetes, and cardio monitoring, among other things. Be it further resolved, the Cheyenne River Sioux Tribe calls upon the Indian Health Service to allocate 10 million of third-party funds from the Cheyenne River Service Unit for 2 community fitness centers, Cherry Creek, South Dakota, and La Plante, South Dakota. Be it finally resolved, the disclaimer. Motion approved by Mr. Bartlett, second by Mr. Rousseau. Discussion?
Chairman,
Go ahead, Mr. Underwoods.
would this be able to start a coordination with the 2 public schools and the 2 grant schools and BIA and the Christian schools to start a real healthy nutrition program? And usually the Olympics, they start them out at 8 years old. They start training till they're 18. 10 years training for the Olympics, and then they go into college and whatever if they're running, or like let's say the decathlon that Jim Thorpe won. And that title, they call it the greatest athlete in the world. And then we got Billy Mills that presented out there at the education conference in Rapid. Billy Mills program and a Jim Thorpe program and a good nutrition program, and start targeting 8 to 18 with incentives. But that would be a good start for the ones that they're mentioning here, the ones with the alcohol and drug problems. Would this help start an incentive program like that? Because when the school administrators come to report to council, I brought this up to them, and they're probably, like what Ron's always saying, that the schools, the public schools, are kind of ahead of the game, but trying to get everybody on the same level when it comes to activity. Arts, performing arts, they call it. that's my question about this. What is it exactly gonna do? I hope it does something.
Okay. Thank you for your comment.
Salamat.
Council, you have any other comments? Madam Secretary?
Greg Sinowitz, Jeanette Junior, absent John Kessler, absent Kendrick Dupree,
Yeah.
Sharon Lee,
Yes.
Kelsey Hassel,
Yes.
Thad Rose,
Yes.
Derek Bartlett,
Yes.
Joe Brinkman,
No.
Paul Walters, Ron Souza, Chuck Thompson.
Yes. Yes for John.
Thank you.
Eleven yes, 0 no, 0 abstain, 1 absent, motion carries. Council, I have a couple more, and then we need to, adjourn. So I put this one on the screen. This one was passed out earlier in the session. And this one's regarding the personnel policy manual. This is provided by Mr. Van Norman, and issue that came up. We'll start here on this with the third whereas. The Cheyenne River Sioux Tribe is committed to improving the health and welfare of its people to provide the highest level of health care possible, and whereas the Indian Health Service provides basic funding to the Tribal Health Department and the Tribal Health Clinics, whereas the Indian Health Service and the Great Plains region in particular have difficulty recruiting physicians due to lower paying, at times 30% less than the industry standards, poor housing, rural location, lack of shopping, dining, and entertainment facilities compared to urban areas. So generally, IHS physicians can receive a locale bonus in effort to equalize the pay and conditions, whereas the Indian Health Service policy provides for reasonable recruitment and retention incentives and bonuses. Physician comparability allowance contract, PCA. PCA allows the federal government to enhance recruit and retention of physicians for those not receiving loan repayment. PCA is in addition to your base salary and is part of your biweekly pay. Contracts are for 1 year or 2 years, and the physician can decide on the length of the contract. The contracts are based on grade, length of service, board certification, length of contract, locality. Recruitment incentive. Some disciplines are eligible to receive a recruitment incentive based on availability of funds and other criteria. Recruitment bonuses are negotiable with clinic or hospital. Retention incentive. Healthcare practitioners are eligible to receive a yearly retention allowance after the first year of employment. This bonus is based on productivity criteria and availability of funds. Malpractice insurance. Employees of Indian Health Service do not pay for the malpractice insurance. They are providing coverage through the Federal Tort Claims Act. Additional negotiated benefits may include loan repayment plans, vacation, moving expensive, continuing medical education, retirement, and moving expenses, among other things. Whereas in the medical healthcare field, medical doctor providers and healthcare professionals work on a flex time schedule with 32 hours per week and Fridays and on flex days, recognizing and understanding that 32 hours of clinical medical service is typically followed by the office time for record keeping, whereas the regular grievance procedure for employees may not be timely or provide the best remedy for disputes that arise between the management of medical professionals. So the Tribal Executive Committee, after consultation with the Tribal Health Department and the affected medical professional, should have authority to negotiate a mediated dispute resolution for physicians, medical doctors, dentists, and medical specialists with reference to medical professional contract or MOU. Now therefore be resolved that the Cheyenne River Sioux Tribe amends the CRST personnel policies and procedures by adding a mediation provision to the addendum at the end. Healthcare physicians, medical doctors, etc., voluntary negotiated mediation for dispute resolution by Tribal Executive Committee. After consultation with the Health Department Director and the affected medical professional, the Tribal Executive Committee may mediate, negotiate, and resolve on a voluntary basis disputes or concerns that may arise between the tribe and physicians, medical doctors, dentists, and specialty medical expert providers, and shall be guided by the employment contract or MOU terms with appropriate consideration of any applicable personnel policy and procedures. Such mediation and voluntary resolution procedure shall toll the grievance process, and as part of the voluntary mediation resolution, such grievance may be dismissed. If no voluntary resolution is practicable, the grievance process may resume, and the grievance timeline shall not be bar such process, and the record and proceedings of the mediation shall not be part of the grievance process. Tribal Council? Any action? Motion approved by Mr. Bartlett. Is there a second? Second. Second by Mr. Russo for discussion. I have Madam Secretary, and I'll go back to you, Mr. Russo.
Thank you. Who brought this up?
Mr. Van Norman typed it up, and this issue arose with our tribal health, and it's currently ongoing. There's a grievance that's ongoing now. And the way her contract is set up, it's like an employee / contract. And so we have to, the attorney thought it was best to do this resolution.
Chairman, you do not have executives get involved in personnel issues. You don't have time to sit there and do all of this. I'm not gonna do it. That's why you have elected policy board members from each district to do all this. If you're gonna do this, then you have to do away with that policy board. Those people, they paid their $25 fee, all the fees that we pay to sit on that board, to hear these grievances. Do not get executives involved in these personnel issues.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Mr. Walters, then Mr. Russo.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Way back in the day, Mr. Chairman, actually the chairman is in the policy procedures for that they can go to the chairman. But what was taken out of the policy and procedures on the grievances was the courts. And at the time, I remember there's only 2 council representatives that voted against taking it out. To me, that was taking away the employees' rights of not being able to go to court. But because there was a case in the court and the employee won the case, that quicker the resolution came in and took the courts out of the system. I think the courts need to be put back into that personnel policy manual for grievances. That way, the people would have a place to go. That's just my opinion, Mr. Chairman. When we have a claims and legislation meeting, I'm actually going to make a motion to put the courts back into the personnel policy procedure for grievances, because that's their final place. They can't go after the grievances. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Walters. Mr. Russo.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, Madam Secretary, for touching on that. There's a lot of redundancy. Do we need these policies, these policy boards, if we can just do it at this level? And it's kind of alarming to me that we see a full-blown resolution get presented to council regarding one grievance. And I can only think about the hundreds of other employees that have grievances that would never get the same privilege to have a resolution in honor of their special grievance, their individual grievance. So I support Mr. Walters. start using that instead. Because we got, I think about this all the time with our health department. We got tribal health, we got diabetes prevention, you know, youth and adult. And we got all these programs to try to tackle these issues, and these issues aren't getting tackled. So sooner or later, we're gonna have to start eliminating the redundancy, the repetitiveness, and you know, we got too many people supposed to be doing stuff, too many programs being funded to do stuff, and at the end of the day, nothing's getting done. And I think just because we have too much redundancy, and I see that with this, and I appreciate Mr. Walters and no, probably pull my second. Thank you, Chairman. Pull my second.
Okay, second's been pulled. Just from speaking with Mr. Van Norman, and it would just be for the physicians, the medical professionals, basically. And those are hired by the health committee. So when they're given this, and this one was given a contract, so it put our policies and procedures in a gray area. So does that employee follow the grievance process, or do they follow the process outlined in their contract? You know, it really put the administration in a gray area, and so that's why we thought it was important to present this resolution to clarify that. However, I don't have a second, so I can just bring this back to the
Chairman.
committee, claims committee,
Chairman, I
and
make a
then we
motion to
can
refer
discuss
to
it.
claims and legislation.
You want to do that, Bartlett? Okay. Okay, we got a motion's been amended to refer to claims. Second by Mr. Russo. You want to comment, or?
I just have a question, Mr. Chairman. I have kept all my papers that I received, and I can't find a copy of this, and I'd like to read it.
Sure.
And I don't know if anyone else got a copy, but I don't have one.
You can have this one, I think. You can have Kevin's copy. I just teasing you. I can email that out to everybody, and we'll take a look at it, and we'll refer it to the claims committee at this time. Motion to refer. All in favor, raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then on Zoom. Those of you on Zoom, raise your hand. Just kidding.
Point with your lips.
Sharon?
Yes.
Kendrick?
Yes.
I think we lost quorum.
Yes.
6,
Copy.
7, 8, 9. I got 9 yes, 0 no. Motion fails and we lose our quorum. Right?
Ryman.
Okay. Yeah, we got you, Kendrick. We got Sharon Lee, Kendrick Dupreez, and Bryce Underwood's on Zoom. And we have 6 here in person.
Where'd Copy go?
Trevor Council, I appreciate your time, and I'm glad we got a lot of work done. I appreciate everyone coming in today, and we'll ask for a closing prayer. Mr. Walters?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Oh, man, same old stuff.
I want to say that, Mr. Chairman, I feel we got a lot done this month. I'm happy that we got caught up on our business. And I'm just thankful for everything that happened this month. I want to say good job to everybody. So I feel like I'm talking about the cost of the Father, we thank you for this day, and ask that you put your blessings upon our people. Ask that you watch over them through this close snap. I pray that no harm comes upon our people. I ask you to watch over the elders and the children and all those in between. I ask that you put your blessings upon our chairman. families as well as my colleagues and their families. I pray that you watch over all those that will be on the front line through this cold snap, that you protect them, keep them from harm's way. Also pray for the four-legged and the winged out there that are out in this element, in these elements, that you protect them. Creator, I thank you, for this month of council and, and all that could be here and all that, supported and all those that are listening to us, our relatives that are out there listening to the live stream. I ask that you be with those who may be sick today, that you give them the blessings that they ask for. I also ask you, Creator, to be with all those who are mourning, all these recent loved ones that have gone on to the spirit world, that you be with all of them and help them on their journeys. Creator, I ask that you watch over all of our healthcare professionals and all of our tribal employees, and just watch over everybody.